Alright, today guys, I'm gonna do a commentary on I made my school principal worship me, aka Mercer Principal Buddy becomes a simp. Let's see how this monstrosity will go out. You are the creator of your own
I never
destiny.
knew why, but I always seemed to annoy my parents. It wasn't as if they didn't like kids. They absolutely adored my brother John.
Yo, I already see the simping already. Just look at them. Parents themselves are simps.
He was always being showered with expensive gifts. In my case, they never even remembered my birthday. On my 10th birthday, I came downstairs and saw a tiny wrapped box on the kitchen table. I ripped it open, only to have Mom walk in and snatch it away from me.
Oh man, it must suck. Like really bad. Rip.
It's not for you. Look, she's torn the wrapping. Just then, John walked in, and they were all smiles. They handed the box to him, and inside was a key to a Porsche. He screamed.
Okay. We have to make this first. How rich are her parents? Just think about it. Like, a Porsche. They're like, I don't know, just...
Screamed in delight and followed them outside. He jumped into his new car. Mom, Dad, let me take you around the block with this baby. And they were.
Just look at that face, though. Like, that looks like a face that will haunt you in your dreams forever and ever. Looks like it'll just, like, kill you in your sleep while you're sleeping.
All off together. John was failing high school and was mostly just partying with girls, but that never seemed to bother my parents. Last Christmas, he brought 2 gorgeous girls home, and my parents looked like they couldn't be prouder.
Guys, he's the Chad of the family, y'all. Oh man, he's the Chad. Let's go.
I had the duty of serving everyone drinks and food. I pretended to trip up and spilled an entire tray of drinks on John and his guests. Mom sent me to my room, and I was more than happy having dinner on my own. A couple of weeks later, he turned up with another girl, Alina, and said they were in a serious relationship and she was moving in with us. I wasn't even allowed to have friends over to study with. If I ever wanted to ask someone, Mom would say, "Are you too stupid to do your work on your own?" And here my parents were, welcoming Alina with open arms. To my horror, I heard Mom say, "Oh, John probably doesn't have enough closet space. Why don't you put your things in Gwen's closet?"
Man, life must suck. Really bad.
She can put her clothes under her bed.
We're already 1 minute 40 seconds in, and I'm already dying inside and cringing.
I started cleaning out my closet. I said, "You know, this is Whisker's favorite sleeping spot. I hope he doesn't scratch all your pretty clothes."
What did the cat ever do? Like, just look at that helpless eyes. He's screaming for help slowly. He just wants us to free him from this hell.
Alina shrieked, picked up all her dresses, and ran off. Later that year, my brother and his dumb girlfriend became proud parents to little Mike. My parents practically sobbed with joy at being grandparents.
Yo, little Mike is like, what is that face though? Like, and then look at the mom. Like, they look very sus, not gonna lie.
And I became the official babysitter. Anytime they were heading out to a party, they'd dump the baby on me and tell me they'd be late, which usually meant I'd be staying up till 2 trying to juggle schoolwork and diapers. To make matters worse, Alina was a mess. Mom ordered me to do everything she asked, and she had me running around constantly because, as she said, taking care of little Mikey is so exhausting. One time, she sent me to get her favorite Chinese takeout, and suddenly the paper bag ripped and all the food boxes fell out.
Oh yeah, I've been there once. Like, I had to get groceries before, but then like everything just dropped. It was nice.
They're staring at the mess for a minute, and then I just scooped up the noodles from the pavement and put them right back in the box. She didn't have to know. She popped into my room one day to try on one of her designer dresses, and she started crying when she couldn't get the zipper up because she'd gotten so fat. I helped her out of it, but inside, I felt so happy. Served her
Deep down inside, she wanted to just take a knife and go. Then she just wanted to like stab her repeatedly.
right for stuffing her face all day. One day, while Alina was taking one of her many naps, I was watching over Mike, and he just wouldn't stop crying. John barged into my room and snatched him from me. "Seriously, why are you so useless? You can't even get a baby to be quiet." That was it. I was done with the thankless job and these selfish people. I decided that things had to change now. Anytime they tried to leave Mike with me, I would say I was too busy with exams and projects and lock myself in my room. I started having my friends over too. One time, while a friend called Stella and I were working on a project, Mom walked in and said rudely, "It's getting late. It's time for Stella to go home." I took Stella's hand and walked up to my room, slammed the door, and started playing loud music. And guess what? My parents said they'd had enough of me. They sent me off to live with one of my aunts. She was in her late 20s. I thought anywhere was better than my house, and I was almost looking forward to it. But I was so wrong. My aunt's ex-husband had been in the army, and I guess that's where she got her military discipline from.
Man, that's tough. Like, man, suck. But hey, these are so fake that you can just tell right off the bat.
She had stupid rules for everything. I turned up for dinner 2 minutes later than 8 on the first night, and she said I could only eat salad. She had a list of chores I had to manage with school every day. I had to obey her rules, otherwise I'd be homeless. The only good thing about being there was that her stepson, Paul, lived with her. He was just a couple of years older than me.
Oh, stepson, we know what's about to happen now, boys. We know what's about to happen.
And boy, was he handsome. He seemed glad to have my company, and we became friends pretty quickly. He would ask me to join his buddies whenever they were over. I totally wanted us to be more than just friends, of course, and it was so exciting to live in the room next to my crush. Stella
Next thing you know, she's gonna say, "I'm stuck."
was over at my place one day, and I told her I'd written a song for Paul. I sang it for her, and she absolutely loved it. Well, at least someone got to hear it. The next day at school, people seemed to be looking at me a lot more than usual. A girl from my class said, "Wow, I had no idea you had such an amazing voice." Another said, "Oh my god, why haven't you auditioned for American Idol already?" Wait, what? Another girl pulled out her phone and said, "Have you seen the views on your video yet?" I looked in horror at myself singing in my room. I couldn't believe
I'd love to blow up like that. I'm just saying, no matter how embarrassing it would be, that'd be great. But what is that profile picture? Like, just her eye? It's kind of creepy.
Stella had recorded me and uploaded the video to YouTube. And it looked like everyone was loving it. The video went viral. Suddenly, every girl wanted to be me, and every boy wanted to be with me. I could see the admiration in Paul's eyes, too. If only he knew he was the inspiration. Jacob, one of the most popular jocks in school, came up to me one lunch. He leaned on the table and said, "Want to go out with me sometime?" I said casually, "You're going to have to impress me first." I made a dare, and the next thing I knew, Jacob had jumped up on the table and was taking his jersey off. Everyone in the cafeteria had turned around, and there were loud cheers and claps from the audience.
Did you see that one girl's face in the middle? Man, oh man. Okay, I'm dying. I'm dying inside right now.
Boy, he was totally
Guys, complete Chad. Look at that. Look at that. Complete Chad. Woo!
ripped. But I looked at him and said, "Nah, I've seen better." And with that, I walked away. Jacob hadn't even noticed my existence till I became popular. He totally deserved it. Soon enough, though, I got a call to go to the principal's office. The principal glared at me as I walked in. I knew she only liked the nerds. She called my parents, and of course, they had nothing nice to say about me. She warned me that if I wanted to stay in the school, I'd better follow the rules and be a good little girl. I felt so angry. I was so tired of everyone's
I was so angry, so I committed mass genocide.
rules. I got up from my chair and said, "Please don't talk to me like I'm a kid. I'm literally the most popular girl in this stupid high school right now." The principal looked absolutely furious. She said, "This is my last warning. Behave or you'll be expelled." This wasn't over. The principal needed to treat me with respect.
If I was that principal, I would just expel her because she animated you like this, so.
I was going to find a way to bring her down. The chance came sooner than I could have hoped for. And it was so much better than any of my original ideas. My aunt had sent me to get food from her favorite restaurant one evening, and I stopped short when I looked in through the window and saw two women kissing. It was the principal and our science teacher. Last time I checked, that was definitely against the rules. I quickly whipped out my phone and made a video of the two. That video was an overnight sensation.
When is this my chance? Like, I'm just gonna cry now.
The principal and the teacher were both forced to quit, and everyone was ecstatic that we were rid of the horrible principal. And I was the one who made it happen. I was crazy popular now. One day in the science lab, I caught Alexa staring right at me. She smiled at me when our eyes met. Alexa was really popular. The lab instructor told us to pair up.
Yo, you guys have Albert Einstein as a teacher? I had no idea.
A lot. At one of her parties, I told her she looked really good, and she blushed. She took my hand and led me to the dance floor. I could tell she was really into me, and to my shock, I realized that I might be a little into her too. I invited her to my aunt's one day. Paul and some of his friends were watching the game and asked us to join them. My aunt walked in with some snacks, and she instantly seemed to warm up to Alexa. I had never seen her look so affectionately at anyone. Alexa and Paul really seemed to hit it off too. And after a while, I felt a little bit left out of their conversation. Soon after that, Alexa started hanging out with me less, and whenever I'd call, she'd say she was busy. Paul seemed to be home less often too. I wondered if the two were hanging out together without me. One day, when I got home from school, I heard laughter from the lounge. It was Alexa and my aunt. Alexa said, hi, Gwen. I was just here to see Paul. I didn't care if my aunt liked Alexa better. I just couldn't afford to lose Paul. I decided to tell him how I felt about him. The next evening, I texted Paul to meet me in the garden after dinner. He seemed really surprised to see me all dressed up. He said, hey, Gwen, what's going on? I took his hand, looked deeply in his eyes, and said, I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy
No, you're just an animated character. That's what you are.
asking him to love her. I closed my eyes and leaned in to kiss him, but I suddenly felt him gently push me back. Paul looked completely shocked. He slowly said, Gwen, I'm a boy who's into other boys. I thought you would have figured that out. I have a boyfriend, actually. I ran away from the scene as fast as I could. High school was about to end, and I didn't want to live with my aunt anymore. Things were really awkward with Paul since that night. And besides, I was making enough from my YouTube singing videos to afford a small apartment on my own. One afternoon, the doorbell rang, and I was really surprised.
How much subscribers does she have? She's making bank over here, boys.
To see that it was Alina. She'd lost a ton of weight and looked fab. She said she needed my help, so I reluctantly let her in. She said, your jerk brother cheated on me. She and John had broken up, and my parents had sent him away to join the army. They were taking care of Mike. Since Alina's parents had stopped talking to her after she got pregnant, she had nowhere to go. She begged me to let her crash at my place till she could figure something out. I could hardly say no to that beautiful face, so I agreed. I thought I'd hate having her around, but I guess not being with my brother made her less of a jerk. In fact, she was going out of her way to cook my favorite meals and kept the house clean. I realized she was really good company. She was great at styling and helped me look amazing for my videos. One evening, I came home to a candlelit dinner for two. Alina looked stunning. Suddenly, she pulled me in for a kiss, and I kissed her back. We were super happy.
Wait. Her brother has a child with her. But this is some Sweet Home Alabama stuff, man.
Together. Our video series became more and more popular, and we were now a famous YouTube couple. We were making really good money, and we moved into a bigger house. Alina asked me one day if I'd have dinner with her sister. I knew she really missed her family, so I happily agreed. When her sister arrived at our table, I almost fell off my chair. It was Alexa, and she was with someone. It was my aunt. Needless.
What is going on? Aunt loves friend. Friend loves aunt. Wife loves person. Person loves bat. Okay, I can't do this anymore. I'm dying.
To say, that
I'm slowly losing more brain cells and gaining them every day.
was one awkward dinner. I just wanted to put the past and these people behind me already. I spoke too soon. Just a few days later, I got a text from my brother saying he wanted to come see us. I was curious about what he wanted, so I invited him over. The next day when he turned up, he looked around the house and said, wow, Gwenny, you've done really well for yourself. Just then, Alina walked in and sat down next to me. John looked a bit angry. I said, "Yes, as you can see, I have a much better life than you. I have everything you could possibly want."
Oh, she's roasting my man. Poor Chad. I'm kidding, he deserves it. He cheated. He must die. I'm kidding. Chill, that was a joke. Don't cancel me yet.
He forced a smile and said, "Well, yes. So here's the thing. I have a great business plan. I need $100,000 for it, though. Can you lend me the money?" Why was I not surprised? I said, "I'd rather throw the money in the gutter than give it to someone as selfish as you." That seemed to be too much for him. He jumped to his feet and shouted, "No matter how rich or famous you get, Mom and Dad will always like me more. You will always be alone, no matter what you do." With that, he stormed out. I smiled at Alina and pointed to the camera that had been running the whole time. I uploaded the video to my channel and told my viewers all about how my family had mistreated me. A few weeks later, my parents showed up with Mike. Turned out, John had sunk all their money in a stupid business investment and had come to ask me for money to pay his debts. He couldn't get a loan from anywhere, and they had to sell their house. They cut ties with him completely now and begged me to help them. I couldn't forget how they treated me, but I was better than them. Plus, they had looked after Mike all these years. I forgave them, and Alina and I moved them into a separate wing of our mansion. At our grand New Year's party, Alexa came by looking absolutely stunning. Apparently, she was no longer with my aunt. She kept flirting with me all evening and was conveniently by my side when it struck 12. She said, "I guess I'll have to kiss you now." I pushed her aside and walked off. I joined Alina on the balcony and took her hand. I said, "The best thing to happen to me is you." She smiled and said, "My life with you is just perfect." And we kissed under the stars.
I hate to say this, but that's kind of wholesome. No capping. It's kind of wholesome, but I hated it all because it's all fake. This will probably never happen. That's the end of today's video. This cringe is very long, but thanks for staying. And I'll see you next time, my amigo.